Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cyclocross Social Podcast. Today we're going to take a look ahead at the World Cup in Namur, and I'm doing that with Nathan Smith, who is currently second in the World Cup standings for junior. Nathan, welcome on our podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It'd be great to have a chat about this.
Could you shortly introduce yourself for the people who don't know you yet?
So I'm Nathan Smith. I'm from Great Britain. I'm 17 years old and I race cyclocross and mountain bike.
You obviously ride for our own team, the Cyclocross Racing team, which is sponsored by Garden Shed. And to get to know you a bit better, we'll be asking you a short couple of dilemmas. Snap questions is what we usually call them. We'll start off with the first one. What is your favorite song to listen to when you're warming up for a race?
I don't really listen to music too much for the race. I think I just sort of go through the course in my head possibly, or just, I don't know. I'm not really into listening to music for the race, so don't really have an answer for that one. Sorry.
Well, that doesn't matter. What is the favorite course that you've done? You might have gone through it a couple of times during your warm up then.
Well, I think my favourite course in Europe so far has been Tabor. I've raced there twice and obviously I've had my best result there. I think the course suits me quite well with being fairly technical, but good places to get the power down as well. So I enjoy that one.
And what is your favorite weather for racing?
I mean, I've never really been that great in mud, but I think I've sort of proven myself that I'm a lot better than I thought, because especially in the UK this season, it's been quite dry recently, but the last national I did was really muddy and I managed to win that, and then I'm getting more confident in the mud as well. So I think I'm possibly prefer dry, but I think the mud is a lot of fun when it's really deep mud and you can, enjoy it.
Well, this one comes from Tom. He asked if you prefer mince pie or apple pie around the Christmas days.
I think it'll be mince pies, yeah. I think I start having them during November, so quite early onto them.
Well, that's definitely something typical British. We don't see that on the other side of the channel. What we do see here is Netflix. What's your favorite Netflix or TV series to watch?
I've been enjoying Money Heist recently. I've been quite into that. So yeah, I think that'll have to be my favourite currently.
Yeah, La Casa de Papel, definitely a good series. Then our last question here for the snap questions is, what is your favorite holiday destination?
I think going to the Alps. I've been there a few times riding the mountain bikes in the summer, so definitely there. I mean, I've been to Canada before, like Vancouver way, and that was a really good trip as well. But I think I like to go to some sort of hot tropical sort of location at some point in my lifetime. I think I'll enjoy that as well.
Well, unfortunately, last year it was not really possible to go on that type of trips. It also affected your racing. How was that to deal with last year? You raced the World Cup in Tabor, but that was the only UCI race you could do because of COVID. Was that tough to deal with?
I mean, as a first year junior, where like I was hoping to get lots of experience with these races out in Europe, it was quite a shame to get selected and then a week before the race find out it was cancelled. So it was quite annoying to find that. But I think I still got quite a bit out of the season with the races that did happen, and I managed to train more and build up a better rider.
Did that also make it difficult for you to know what to expect coming into this season?
Yeah, I think it did. Like, I think I haven't really raced in Europe properly apart from the ball last year, and then I raced a couple times in October, and then it is a lot different to racing in the UK. Is the races a lot faster and the courses are a lot different. So I think it might have made it a bit more difficult, but I think I've adapted quite well.
And what goals did you have coming into this season?
The main goal I set was to get a national win and then a podium at World Cup. So I've already managed to achieve the couple of two goals that I set. So quite happy with how my season's gone so far. So I think my next goal will definitely be to win a World Cup.
Well, if we look at your results this season, they've definitely gone uphill. Was that kind of a lack of rhythm in the beginning that you needed to adapt to the racing again, especially after being a year out of the cyclocross bike?
Yeah, I think that's possibly what it is. I mean, first cross race was the national at Derby, and then I just had a few mechanicals and crashes, and I sort of couldn't really get into my rhythm. I mean, the legs were there. I think I could have got a podium, possibly a win, but I wasn't ready for the sort of racing just yet. But once I got into the rhythm and used to the bikes, I've definitely been able to get the results.
And then you already said it, you won your first national trophy series race. That was the second round there. And did that come expected, or was that a big surprise for you?
I mean, based on how I felt at Derby in the legs, I thought I could have had a good chance of being up there. But then to get the win at the second round was pretty good because I was racing in the group for the first couple laps, and then I managed to attack up this like gravel climb and opened up a gap and then extended the gap towards the end. So definitely put a lot of confidence in me that I could be able to do that.
And before that, you had raced Gieten and Meulenbeke. What's the difference between racing on our side of the channel compared to your side of the channel in England?
I mean, I think the racing's faster. Like they're sort of like at the top end of the race, it's like just a couple like kilometers an hour quicker than the race in England, but you do notice it. So it's a bit of adaptation. Like I think also the courses make a lot of difference. So at Moelenbeek, it's quite technical, I think. With like, and then also Geaton or Heaton, how to pronounce it, is definitely it was quite a shock to system with all the mud as well.
Yeah, it's a big difference in terms of parcourses as well. You see it, every country has unique courses. In Belgium, they tend to get more technical, so they have more slow corners for the TV, whereas in France, you have real wide and fast courses. What type of course? I mean, you already said it a bit, you like the dry courses, but what type of parkour is the one that you like the best out of the ones you've raced this season, or just the ones that you haven't raced?
I think I like ones where they involve quite a few corners. I mean, I enjoy the technical side, especially being to my mountain biking, so I do enjoy that. And I think having courses where I'm able to put the power down, where I can really sort of accelerate as much as I need, because some courses where it's sort of quite slow and hard to get up to speed, I tend not to do as well in.
Was that also why you maybe struggled a bit at the European Championships compared to the races before?
I mean, I think the course didn't suit me the best there, but I'd also come off a week of illness the week before, so I wasn't quite in my like top form at that point. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a bit of a disappointment the result I got there, but I'm also happy with how I managed to stay up and still get a 12th, which is a good result.
Definitely, illness always has a big impact, and we can clearly see that after that your form improved. Would you say that you are now on your top form, or do you think you still have room to improve over the Christmas period towards the championships?
I mean, yeah, I definitely feel like my form's doing pretty well at the moment, being able to win by comfortable margins in this country in the nationals. And then I felt like I was pretty close to the Tabor win. I mean, I didn't have the best of starts, and then to be able to move up the from about 20th to the lead group definitely shows that the form's there. But I think there's still a bit to improve on because I think it's on some courses where it's mostly technical. I feel like I'm comfortable, but then on the power, I feel like I can go a lot harder on like up the climbs and that. I can go faster.
Yeah, let's go back to that race in Tabor a bit. You said you had a bad start and then you went forward through the pack towards the front. We only had live timing. Could you tell us a bit about what you were thinking during that race and how it was going?
I mean, I sort of gave me flashbacks the year before because when I raced there in 2020, I got my chain jammed off the start, so I was dead last, and then I managed to finish ninth. So I knew it was possible to move up, even though it's not the widest track and it is quite technical in places. I know I was able to do it, so I had confidence in that. So I mean, I was on second row and I got a okay start, but I was a bit boxed in by other riders, so I couldn't move forward, and then just struggled on the first lap. So yeah, I knew I could move up, so I just tried my best to pick off riders and then get on the back of that front group.
Then you ended second, well, not that far behind the winner, David Haverdings. I can imagine that that was really an ecstatic moment for you.
Yeah, I mean, by the time I caught this front group, including David and Ben Askey from Great Britain, I was pretty tired after like trying to catch them. Like, if looking at the lap times, I had some of the fastest laps leading up to it. So then obviously when David got a little bit of a gap on me on these corners, it was hard to chase him down. So I felt even though he sort of guaranteed the win with his gap he had, I was still really close, and it was definitely a great feeling to know that I was up there and then able to get the results I'd hoped for, especially after coming after European champs where the result hadn't been there.
And then after that, you went back to racing in the UK, 3 wins in a row. And now you're also leading the National Trophy Series by quite a margin with, I think, only one race to go.
Yeah. So I've guaranteed the overall series lead, which feels pretty good as well, with one race to go. And then, yeah, I mean, it's been quite a shock. I wasn't expecting to go into them all and then win the previous rounds all in a row. Because I know the riders in the UK are they're like really good, and then I don't know, I just wasn't expecting to be able to do that. But yeah, it's definitely felt pretty good to race in the yellow leaders jersey for the past couple of rounds too.
It's also good news because the last race conflicts with the World Cup in Flowman Fuel, so I guess you can now focus on the World Cup where you also still have a good chance of securing a very good position in the overall.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on logistics as well, because that Flamanville could be quite close to if I go to Worlds, and then also getting there is quite a long way because the National is quite close to where I live. So there's definitely some options on what I decide to do.
Yeah, always keep all your options open, but let's talk a bit about that World Cup then, not Flamanville, but it continues. It's been a month since the World Cup in Tabor. Now we're going to Namur, obviously a heavy climbing parkour. Do you think that that's something for you, or do you think you will struggle a bit maybe?
I think I should be quite strong on it. I mean, I've raced mountain bike, and that can involve quite long climbs. So I think, yeah, it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard for everyone. Looking at conditions, I think it's going to be quite dry compared to usual years. So I think that might suit me again because although with the climbs mostly being in cobbles, there's still quite a lot of grip and then technical descent. So I am looking forward to seeing how it pans out really because I'm not too sure how I'll perform. I'm just hoping I can get a top result again.
And of course, that massive off camber, which they now moved higher because they thought there were too many trails on the old one. So, as you said, you like technical features. Well, you're getting probably the most technical feature of the season there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen that off camber many times on like TV and that. It's just like it's gonna be really fun to be able to race it myself and then see how fast I can do it as well.
And when are you heading over there?
We leave Friday and I should be there for Saturday practice. So yeah, got all Saturday afternoon to get used to the course.
And from all the other juniors, who do you think is going to be your biggest opponent?
I think definitely David's up there. He's been performing really well recently, and then he'll be in the leaders jersey, which will give him quite a lot of confidence. I think Aaron Dox is that he's European champion. I think Tabori had a few problems with his bike, etc., but he's definitely still up there. And then yeah, I mean, there's definitely some other names that'll be up there. I mean, I haven't had that much chance to race against them all, but we're not like I've raced a few times in Europe now, but not as much as I would have liked. So yeah, it's hard to know exactly who the main competitors are for me.
And of course, we're also getting a bunch of Canadians and Americans over. We do not know where they will stand. Sometimes they surprise us and they have a couple of guys fighting for the podium and the win. Other times they struggle to get in the top 10. It's mostly first years they are sending over, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'll be lucky to be able to watch that race myself. I think it should be a good one, as you said, and we hear a lot of riders say it's their favorite parkour that they've ever done, so I think you must, of course, also be very happy with the opportunity that you can ride that parkour.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was hoping to go last year before it was all cancelled, and then I think yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun just to race it, and then with more people coming over from America and Canada, it's just going to make it more interesting, and it could be anyone's race really.
And of course, we've seen other British riders also do fairly good this season. Could you tell us a bit about who the other very good British riders are?
I mean, Ben Askey's up there. I think he got second at Koppenberg, not far from Aaron Dock. So yeah, I think he's a good technical rider as well. Got a lot of strength. So yeah, I think Namur will suit him as well as Max Grinsell, who's raced mountain bike, and Oliver Akers, who's in our team as well, cyclocross racing. So yeah, there's a quite a big group of GB riders going over for Namur, but I think the biggest group they've ever taken. So should be quite a strong team.
I definitely think so, and I really like to see the talent keep on coming through from the UK because, yes, I might be Dutch, but Dutch and Belgian talents, there are enough of them. I always like to see from other countries see names come to the front, and in the juniors category, it always looks impressive. It's always a bit of a struggle for some to stay in the sport following logistics. How do you see that for yourself when you become under 23 next season?
I mean, support at the moment is good. It's pretty good. I mean, British cycling they've got a lot of support for these World Cups by taking us there, and then for the domestic races, my parents are really supportive, managing to take me as well as my team. They help like fund it as well, and then it all helps like to get there. And then yeah, I think next year it's going to be quite different. I'm not sure what the plans are yet. Whether I try and move out to Europe somehow and then maybe I can race more. But yeah, I think I definitely want to sort of look into that.
Well, definitely that's something we've seen riders do, and most of the time that's necessary to be in Belgium because so many races are focused around there. But yeah, hopefully it will all sort out. And of course, Namur, we discussed that now. Let's look a bit broader than that. In the Christmas period, are you planning on doing more races in Belgium?
Yeah, I'm hoping to be out there for Dendermonde and then stay out and then race Solder, hopefully Deegan, but I haven't got an entry for it because they filled up really quickly, so I'm not sure I'll be doing that one. And I think it's Loonhout after that. So I'll be there for those 3, possibly 4. But yeah, we can't stay out for the whole period as logistics, as well as me and my dad can't be away from home for too long over Christmas. It'd be unfair on my mum.
Yeah, definitely tough. And if we look then even further beyond the Christmas period, after winning all these national races, is your goal to become British champion?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it would mean a lot to be a national champ. I mean, obviously, it's quite a big achievement to do that. And then, yeah, it would mean a lot. I mean, on the course, I think it should suit me. I've raced there before, and I think it's quite a good cross course, lots of banks and off cambers. So hopefully, I can have a good day and then come out on top.
And then after the nationals, you already talked a bit about the worlds. Those are held in Fayetteville. Could you tell us a bit about your ambitions for that and if you think the parkour suits you?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's going to be quite an experience if I manage to get out there. I mean, the selections aren't announced yet, and obviously I can't rely that I've been selected just yet. But fingers crossed I will be. And then, yeah, I think the course is definitely different to most cross courses that I've seen. It's really wide and they got the fresh layer of turf on top as well, so it'll be really smooth and fast. So yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be different to what I'm used to.
Yeah, of course, the selections will be announced later, but if you keep up these results, there should be no reason not to select you. But it's always good to not get ahead of yourself and keep a bit of caution and wait and see. But we certainly hope that you will be racing there, not only because you are on our podcast and you ride for a team, but it would just be great to see you up there and fighting for a good result.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously the main aim would be up to win the rainbow jersey, but I think even just a podium or a top 5 would be a really good result for me, and yeah, definitely, that's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, fingers crossed it works out. Let's go back to Namur a bit and talk a bit about the elite races there. Let's start with the men's race. No Van der Poel, he is injured. He had a cut in his knee and was forced to skip out this race. Do you then think that your countrymate Tom Pidcock is the big favorite there?
I mean, coming off a mountain bike season with this course being, they always say it's sort of good for mountain bikes. I think he will have a good chance being up there. But also, Wout's been really dominant in the past few races, so I think it's going to be quite a close race between the two of them.
And Pidcock is lucky Van Aert is on a training camp with Jumbo-Visma, so no Van Aert there.
I didn't realise that, no. So, yeah, I think, yeah, Pidcock should have a good chance, hopefully. I think it'll suit him.
Yeah, I think it will indeed be something for Pidcock. I've seen his form improve already in Val di Sol. He was already a lot better than the week before in Boom. I think his base level is there, and in Namur it's all about the base level. I do think in the dry circumstances that Eli Iserbyt can provide a good challenge. He also likes a bit of climbing, but historically Iserbyt hasn't done good in Namur. Toon Aerts has. What do you think? Do you think that Iserbyt and Toon Aerts can come close, or will they fight each other for second place?
I mean, I think after watching Iserbyt for a couple of years, I think sometimes I think his head goes down if the course doesn't suit him too much. I think he's sort of that psychological sort of factors might play with him, but I also know that if he is up there, he'll go for it as well. I think Toon Aerts has a good chance as well as being up there, so it's definitely good, really good to watch. Hopefully, we'll be able to stay there as well to watch it live.
Yeah, will definitely be an interesting race, and I don't know. I don't think we should look too much at Laurens Zweek. Quinten Hermans hasn't been great the last couple of weeks either, but I definitely think that Aerts and Iserbyt, as I said, will be up there. Michael van Toerenhout was good in Val di Sol. I personally think it was a parkour thing. I do not expect him to be great in Namur, but I don't know, maybe you think differently about that?
No, I think I agree with you. I mean, yeah, I think the course is definitely going to be quite determining who wins this race, with it being technical and big hills on it as well.
And what about the European champion, Lars van der Haar? Do you think he can do anything there?
Um, I think he could surprise us, but yeah, I feel like he's up there sometimes, but sometimes he's just a bit off the pace. So I think, yeah, I'm not saying he won't be up there, but I think he has a chance of doing well.
Yeah, it's also a bit hard to judge because they, of course, skipped out Val di Sol. Val di Sol itself was a very atypical parkour. Before that, we had Boom, which was also very atypical with all the mud there and the very steep climbs. So it's a bit hard to judge who is where. But yeah, I certainly think Lars van der Haar on a good day should be up there somewhere. But then again, I do not know how good he will be because think Van der Haar usually lacks a bit of rhythm coming back from training, and I mean, we just need to wait and see there. However, what I do think is the good news is that the start list here for Namur are super big. We have almost 60 participants in the men's category and over 80 in the women's category. I'm just looking through the list outside of the Dutch and Belgian squad. And then besides Pidcock, we see a bunch of Americans come in. Potentially, Gage Hecht can do something. He was eighth from the top of my head in Fayetteville, which comes somewhat close to Namur. It has some similar elements. Do you think that Gage Hecht can surprise and get another top 10?
I mean, I think looking at what most American courses are like during the start of the cross season, they're quite dry and dusty. So I think if it is dry at Namur this weekend, where it's looking like it might be, I think the Americans could be up there because they'll sort of be on form and used to those conditions.
Yeah, they are coming off their national championships. It's a shame to see their national and continental champion Eric Brunner, who is having a fantastic season, not be able to come over. It's a shame, but it's that way because it's tough for them to make it in terms of logistics. So that's a shame. I will definitely be keeping an eye out on Gage Hecht and Curtis White to see what they can do. Hecht could surprise me with the top 10, but I think it will be tough with the amount of Belgians riding there. I want to wrap up here by making a prediction. What do you think for the podium positions?
Um, I think, well, I'm going to say Pidcock first, and then I'm going to go with Toon second, and then third, Iserbyt. I mean, they seem quite generic, but I think it's hard not to go wrong with those three.
I will be then going with something a bit different. I think Toon Aerts is going to grab the win ahead of Tom Pidcock. It will be a close battle between those two, and then third place for Michael van Torenhout, I think. If we then look at our women's race, there's a massive start field there. Basically, Marianne Vos is the only one who isn't at the start there. She is riding the race in Rukve on Saturday. Who do you think is the big favorite? Is it Lucinda Brandt who comes back from a training camp?
I think, well, she's definitely the favourite, especially racing in the Rainbow Stripes, and then she's had a good season so far, a lot of strong rides. But I think she's not as much of a technical rider as some of the others, so I don't know whether this course has suited her in the past as much, but yeah, I think she could definitely be up there.
In the past, she has been pretty dominant on this course. Of course, winning last year, and also I think she has 3 or 2 wins there. So it should be something for her. I think Brandt, we've seen it this season, is definitely the woman to beat. However, it's a tough climbing parcours, so personally, I don't expect much of Alvarado, who usually struggles here. Kostlein coming back from an injury, so that will be tough. But I don't really know. It's always tough, but when we go climbing, I always come back to Clara Honsinger, always struggling with the starts, but last year she got a second place here. She became national champion again this weekend. Do you think that she can potentially challenge Brandt, or will her bad starts hamper her again?
I think should be on good form and definitely go into the race. And I think the start is pretty important, especially straight up the climb. And then if she can get a good start, it'll definitely help. But there's a chance she'll get, if she doesn't have a great start, she could probably come back from it, hopefully.
Yeah, I think she will be fighting with a big bunch of riders. It's always the same in the women's race that you can list 10 riders who can end on the podium. A couple I would like to mention. What do you think for Denise Betsema? What can she do?
I think she'd get top three, definitely. I think Lucinda hopefully on top. And then yeah.
Yeah, it will be close. It's such a big list of names we can choose from for the podium spots, I think. It's hard to see. I mean, a couple of years ago, Evie Richards surprised us by taking the win here. You could have the same here again. I think there will be a bunch of riders who will be good. So Clara Honsinger will be good, as said. Magali Rochette, it will probably a bit of a tougher parcours for her to get another podium. So I don't expect that from her. But Eva Lechner has been very good in Val di Sol, and she's been on good form lately. She could get a cheeky top 5 here, but I think overall we'll mainly be looking at Brand, Betsema, although Betsema hasn't looked great. What do you think about Sven van Empel, the winner of Val di Sol? You think that this is too much for her?
Possibly, yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, she did well at Val de Sol. I mean, that was definitely a very different course to what most people used to. I mean, I think Val de Sol could have been won by anyone really because it was such a unique course that I don't know, it could have suited anyone. So it's hard to know exactly where they are on a Belgium course compared to that course.
Yeah, I agree. It's you can't have a bigger change. You're going from snow to bone dry conditions, which is climbing heavy. It might indeed look more like a mountain biking parkour. So I guess we could be in with a pretty interesting race. I would like to mention the French riders Clausel and Foucounet. I think Foucounet could surprise us. She just doesn't have good cornering, but I mean, what? There's not. Yeah, there are quite some corners actually in Namur, so it might hamper her. But on the other hand, I feel like you can get away with a bit of a scratchy cornering in Namur as long as you have a lot of power to compensate for that. Because the parkour is super tough, especially with on that cobble to climb. You can make up a lot if you have a lot of more power.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also like the few banks and obviously the main off camber. So there's definitely places where you can gain it back if cornering's not the sort of your strong point.
Okay, let's then make some predictions. It will be hard, but what do you think for the podium places?
I think Brand on top, and then I'm not really sure on the rest. It's quite hard to choose from.
Yeah, I do also think Lucinda Brandt will take the win. And then it is indeed hard, but I will be going with second place for probably Clara Honsinger. And then in third place, maybe Denise Betsema. She's been very consistent this season, but it's very hard to really see who will come on top. I think we'll have to wait and see. Also, Brandt doesn't have any rhythm coming into this, so it will definitely be an interesting one.
Mm. Yeah.
Then brief mentions here. There's also a men's under 23 race and a women's junior race coming up, but we won't dive into details on that one. But I just wanted to mention that they are there. You cannot watch those live, but those will be live timed, and the links to that can be found on our website. But I think we should be in for a good weekend of racing. Nathan, thank you for wanting to be here.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Yeah, it's been good to talk.
And of course, the best of luck this weekend. We hope you can get that top position.
Thank you very much.
That then concludes our preview podcast for the World Cup in Namur. Once again, thanks to Nathan for wanting to join us, and we hope he can achieve his goal this weekend in Namur of getting a top class result. If you're wondering where to watch Namur, you can make sure to check that out on our website, cyclocross.social, and we will be back with new podcasts this weekend. First, on Saturday, we have the World Cup in Rukven, where Tim Merlier and Gianni Vermeers are racing. We will be making a podcast for that. And then on Sunday, we will be coming towards you with a podcast about the World Cup in Namur, which I will be attending myself. So we should be in for some good racing there. Thanks everyone for listening, and I will see you guys then this weekend. Goodbye.